Joining me now, Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer of New York. Senator, I know you have a big week coming up with immigration reform, and I do want to talk to you about that. But I want to first talk to you about the news that's breaking now. And we have this situation where Hong Kong, with whom the U.S. has cordial, in fact, good relations and an extradition treaty, has let Edward Snowden fly out, presumably to Moscow, and then points unknown. What do you make of that?
Well, first, very disappointing what Hong Kong has done. It remains to be seen how much influence Beijing had on Hong Kong. As you know, they coordinate their foreign policies, and I have a feeling the hand of Beijing was involved here. What's infuriating here is Prime Minister Putin of Russia aiding and abetting Snowden's escape. The bottom line is very simple. Allies are supposed to treat each other in decent ways, and Putin always seems almost eager to put a finger in the eye of the United States, whether it is Syria, Iran, and now, of course, with Snowden. That's not how allies should treat one another, and I think it'll have serious consequences for the United States-Russia relationship.
Okay, then let me follow up with this. Putin's relationship to Snowden landing in Moscow, you believe it had to have been approved by the Russian president?
I believe so. Something at this level in a state-controlled country, the minute Aeroflot got the notification that he would be coming, I believe that Putin, it's almost certain he knew, and it's likely he approved it.
So if there will be consequences, and we know there are lots of things on which the U.S. and Russia disagree, but it's not the Cold War anymore, why would he allow Snowden to come?
You know, it seems to me that Mr. Putin is almost eager to stick a finger in the eye of the United States. In so many different areas, he does not cooperate. Very few are the areas in which he does cooperate these days. And I think this action, Putin allowing Snowden to land in Russia and then go somewhere else, is going to have serious consequences for U.S.-Russian relationship.
And just could you tell me a couple of what serious consequences?
Well, who knows? You know, we have all kinds of relationships with Russia, and in some ways works out pretty well. We're trying to mutually reduce the number of nuclear arms that each country has. But there are many different kinds of relationships that are both political, diplomatic, economic, and I don't think we can just shrug our shoulders and say, this is how Putin is.
And do you think right now there are U.S. diplomats on the line with Russian diplomats saying, you need to hold that guy and extradite him to us?
I absolutely, it's very, very likely that we are asking Russia to hold him. Whether Russia does that or not, I don't know. But the fact that they were allowing him to land indicates that we're not in a phase of cooperation, pretty much for sure. And, you know, Snowden, look, let's look at Snowden here. You know, some might try to say that, oh, he's a great human rights crusader. He is not at all like the great human rights crusaders in the past, the Martin Luther Kings or the Gandhis who did civil disobedience, because he flees the country. Daniel Ellsberg, when he released the Pentagon Papers, because he thought it was the right thing to do, stayed in America and faced the consequences. But second, he's hurt other people. You know, a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King didn't hurt other people as they did their resistance, and they faced the consequences. So I don't think Snowden in any way can be compared to those people and should not be made a good guy, hero, or anything like that by anybody.
And finally, on this subject, Senator, are you concerned that watching a man that the U.S. really thinks has exposed government secrets, who has been charged with spying and with theft of government property, as we sort of track him around the world, are you worried that the U.S. looks kind of powerless to stop this one guy?
Well, let's wait and see. You know, diplomacy has its funny ways of working, and sometimes it takes a little while. Okay. So I wouldn't prejudge that yet.